breaking news happening now. This is Wave 3 News.
And let's get to that big breaking news story right now from downtown Louisville. Take a look at this live picture right here. You see a lot of smoke in the sky, and this is coming from the area of 1st and Main Street. We all know it as Whiskey Row.
Yeah, it's a 2-alarm fire. It's in that area of Doc Crow's and O'Shea's. Let's see if we can go right now to our reporter Theo Keith, who just arrived on the scene moments ago. Theo?
And so have firefighters arrived just moments ago. I'm going to step out of the way and give you a look at this fire that's billowing out of the buildings here at 1st and Main. This is Whiskey Row. This is the building that the smoke is pouring out of right here. That's next to the facades with the parking lot in the background, if you're familiar with this area. I just heard a firefighter come by and yell, "We're going defensive," which means that they'll attack this from the outside of the building, not the inside. It is an old building, so it could be unsafe there. Firefighters just getting organized at this point as to how they're going to attack this fire. You can see the incredible amount of smoke that's pouring out, really affecting people on the sidewalks here. They've shut down traffic here on Main Street, forcing people to divert onto 1st. So Main Street between 1st and 2nd are closed. Obviously, this is incredible to look at. Quite a scene going right now.
You can see this old portion of Whiskey Row is just rolling with smoke right now as we've brought you these pictures since the top of our newscast here at 5.
And they're the firefighters trying to work on it right now. Wave 3 News reporter Janelle McDonald joining us live now from the interactive zone with more information. Janelle?
Well, guys, we understand that firefighters have had to at least double the amount of crews that initially responded to this fire. They are now in the process of tripling it. That's how severe the smoke and the fire is there. We want to show you what it looks like from the air as firefighters continue to try to fight this fire in the 100 block of Main Street there. You know, I was out at the waterfront earlier today. It is very, very windy, and so you have to think that hurts the firefighters as they continue to try to fight this fire. But if you just go down the street here, that's where Humana's building is, and if you come back here, then you have all these restaurants that so many people are familiar with here. O'Shea's, pizza, Mexican, all sorts of things. In fact, we understand they've actually evacuated O'Shea's because of this fire.
I have confirmed with Louisville Fire that no one is inside this building that's on fire still. I'm going to step out and show it to you, and you can see right now the whole thing consumed with smoke. When we got here, the smoke was coming out of the 1st floor. It has since moved all the way up this 4-story building and is now coming out of the roof. They moved everyone back, fearing that this building could collapse. They've moved us back once and then a second time because of those concerns.
Of course, some people know that area as the Iron Quarter because of those iron facades on the building there. A lot of people say that has such historical significance for our area. We've seen some of those flames up on the roof now, as you can see from that picture there. We understand it started on some of the lower levels, but the fire just continues to burn. Wave 3 News reporter Natalia Martinez out there for us live tonight. Natalia, what is going on behind you?
Well, in just a few moments ago, we actually saw huge flames coming out from the backside of the building. I am just a block away from where Theo Keith was. We're down the street where the smoke was blowing our way. At times, the street was completely black. You couldn't even see where the building was because of the amount of smoke.
These are those 2 facades only. Behind it's sort of that empty space. And then in these next 3 buildings, which is 111, 113, and 115, this was going to be the 111 Whiskey Row project. They were going to spend millions of dollars apparently converting these old buildings into some offices. We understand that they were currently in the demolition phase, but offices were going to be up there. We saw a leasing sign out there, and we know that it was going to be very pricey because these buildings date back to the mid-1800s. They have never, in fact, undergone any major renovations.
Renovation work began about 2 weeks ago. And so there's a lot of open floor spaces inside the structure where the fire began. The fire did start in the basement, very, very tall stories in this type of building, which makes firefighting efforts extremely difficult.
This is Wave 3 News.
Look at this live picture here. Smoke and flames roaring through the heart of downtown. We're watching this breaking news event unfold. The site of a major civic development becoming a dangerous situation. This is a spot, a must-see for tourists, known as Whiskey Row. And we have determined that this is 111 through 115 Main Street on fire right now. My co-anchor Scott Reynolds joining us live from the scene to fill us in. My goodness, those flames are intense, Scott.
The roof collapsed, and of course that just let these flames shed and shoot through the top of this structure, which is 6 stories on the backside as you get on the river side of the complex, and it looks like 4 stories from the front. It involves 3 different buildings, we're told, and renovations had begun here just a couple of weeks ago, and there was work going on in there today, though the fire department wasn't sure if it might have been torches or power saws or what might have been used in there that could have possibly sparked something that started this fire in the basement, and it has spread to a huge area, 100 feet wide and about 200 feet deep from front to back here.
I'm sad to say the building is collapsing right behind us. This has just started a couple of minutes ago. We saw the fire move closer towards First Street, and firefighters started moving trucks further away.
There's no rain to really provide any relief whatsoever, although the smoke is now showing up on the radar. It actually is detecting that drifting over the Ohio River into southern areas of Indiana. Here's the smoke field. You see downtown on the left. It's a due south wind right into Whiskey Row, so there's not much change in direction. It's blowing that smoke and the flames on the backside, and that is the concern. The backside behind Whiskey Row are those buildings, but as you heard from Captain Melendez there, it sounds like they've gotten it contained within that row of buildings that have been impacted, those 3 buildings, so it doesn't have to jump to the next row there behind it.
Scott Reynolds joining us live once again from the scene, and you just interviewed Craig Greenberg, part of the group planning to renovate that building. Scott?
Yeah, and Craig is here to tell us that, they're still hoping to save that facade, because that's what people see when they walk down this historic street, is that beautiful front, that historic front to the buildings. They're concerned it could collapse.
We are certainly too. First and foremost, it's most important. Our understanding is that no one was in the building, that all the construction workers had left for the day. So, of course, we're pleased to hear no one was in the building, and next our attention turns to continuing to save the buildings. This has been a group of committed, civic-minded investors and developers that are been seeking to save and revitalize these buildings, and we hope we still have enough left to continue to do that.
You can't even see the building behind the building that caught on fire. There are several buildings there, but they've just been covered in smoke, and the fire has actually been moving towards the back of the building. That's where we noticed these huge flames jutting out.
Impella Zaries across the street was evacuated because they were concerned the facade might collapse. We were told by Craig Greenberg, who's in part of this development group here of this property, that they hope it can be saved as they go on to build restaurants, offices, and also some apartments here on Main Street. We'll have much more, of course, coming up tonight.